Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Adastra. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go! Alright. It's worth it, though, as I come up and see that I've accomplished my goal of splashing Neferu, the jackal in the middle of us pawing water from his eyes. I must say, you become more like him every day. I move to the bench to sit beside the jackal, my own eyes stinging from the salty spring water. Because I'm more willing to shut you up? Yes, crude like the wolves, having to resort to physical methods because they can't use their words properly. I narrow my eyes. Well, talking of shit, then you're gonna get hit. Humans are the same, and I have a feeling jackals are too. How would you know? I've never raised a paw against anyone on this moon. Probably because you know you wouldn't stand a chance. Also, I have seen you fight, first with Alex, and remember you accepted a spar with Amicus a few months back? I seem to have forgotten. Well, I haven't. You took all your clothes off to tease him, and then got floored in like a second. He struck me in the stomach when I was not ready, and very hard, mind you. Their combat techniques are as crude as their words. You weren't ready because you were still using your words after the fight had started. Even though the incident had been a little worrying at the time, I find it mostly funny now and smirk at the memory. How was that funny? I had to check into the hospital to make sure he didn't rupture anything. It was very dangerous to do such a thing in what was supposed to be a friendly spar. I think it was the way you went from showboating to making the weirdest noises after you fell on the ground. Amicus probably did take a lot out of his built-up frustration in that attack. Unfortunately, it resulted in even more tension between the two of them, which makes things difficult because I like them both. I guess Neferu at least still talks official business with Amicus. Neferu huffs. And like that blow, bringing that up is rather low of you. He's right. My mood is a bit strange today, and just like with Virginia, I find myself being more blunt. I shrug. Well, so was making shitty comments about all wolves. Neferu sighs loudly, seemingly at a loss for words. A rare sight. I start to feel a bit guilty and clear my throat, changing the subject to the subject I'm not really sure how to explain to the jackal. So, I'm leaving tomorrow. Neferu's eyes light up. So I've heard, which is why I wanted to be sure that I would see you today, though I'm starting to regret it considering your mood. I slump against the ledge. Sorry I'm feeling weird today. I'm just overwhelmed with everything that's happening. Well, you'll be returning, won't you? Yeah, just not sure when that might be. Obviously, Amicus wouldn't have told Neferu about our situation. Maybe if the parents directed him to. I'm guessing it was Virginia who told him I'm leaving. This is a temporary trip, is it not? You are engaged to be married, after all. I shift a little under his intense gaze. Yeah, but I miss my planet. I just need to be home for a while, so it might be a while. Neferu was quiet for a moment. Does a while mean weeks? Months? I look away, over the surface of the steaming water. Maybe a bit longer. Years. It's more of a statement than a question. Maybe. Well, I must say that I was rather shocked to hear of your sudden plans for departure, but you would not tell me either. I half-heartedly will the parents to send me a signal that I can just tell Neferu everything. Second, y'all, it is water time. Probably shouldn't have saved it there. Whatever. But like always, all is quiet in space. But now I'm less surprised, considering that it sounds like you yourself did not realize you would be leaving. I just didn't know how to tell you. That, or you're hiding something. I look at him. What? Oh, Kyliian, you're not nearly as subtle as you think. Like I said, you're becoming more like Amicus every day. What do you mean? Well, your sudden interest in galactic affairs for one, but mostly it's your mere presence here in the first place. It makes little sense. Oh, yeah? I kind of hope that Neferu figures it out on his own, considering that would dodge the issue of me telling anyone. Oh, yes. If I were to guess, you are currently being trained by Adastra to assimilate your people with the children of the wolves. I physically recoil at the idea, even though he's incredibly close. What? Hell no! I would never do that to my people, or to any people! Despite Amicus being emperor, and despite his slow but steady improvements for the wolven children, it's not a situation I would put Earth in willingly. Neferu raises his eyebrow again, seemingly convinced by my reaction. We regard each other for a moment, and Neferu blinks first. So, you really won't tell me? I didn't say I have a secret to tell, though. You're just assuming. Honestly, I'm a bit hurt that you feel you can't trust me with this information after all this time. Now I raise an eyebrow. Neferu, you haven't told me anything about your own situation on your planet, along with your family. Well, you've never asked. Because I know it's personal. You dodged the topic whenever I brought it up. It's a very long story, first of all, and second of all, it's a story about me being a selfish, foolish brat. Of course I wouldn't want to tell you. But if I tell you, would you tell me? I think, somewhat tempted to make him tell a story, and just lie about mine. But only for a second. I sigh. No, I'll only be able to when I come back. Neferu's impish nature deflates pretty quickly. Well, at least you're honest. I suppose I'll trust you in that. It's rather important, and not my place to know. I admit that I'm still a bit hurt by all this, but that's not something I admit often. Sorry, I promise you'll understand once I'm back. Again, I wonder if I'm already admitting too much. But years? I can't predict where I'll be in that amount of time. Back on Kyliian? And possibly, if all goes well. I'll visit. I'm a citizen, remember? Well, they rarely allow use of the stretch drive for only visits, but being the Emperor's husband might make that easier. Yeah, I'll convince him. It seems to bring the issue of my sudden departure to a close. We sit there in silence for a long while, then I place a hand on Neferu's knee. It's not something I would have done in the past, considering the Jackal's reputation, but nothing about it feels sensual. Instead, I do it out of pure solidarity and friendship. And I wanted to say thank you, Neferu, for everything. I don't think I'd be alive if you weren't there for me. I know you had your reasons, everyone did, but thank you. It is the duty of all Kyliians to protect any sapient fleeing wolven violence, whether they be sibling, child, or as you happen to be, abandoned. I believe that after I visit Kyliian, I have to look for myself. I'll be your tour guide. And Neferu, you can still tell me what's going on with your family if you want. Definitely not. Do you really want to know? The situation is complex, unresolved, and seems to always be changing. I mean, yeah, I'd like to know. It seems really important to you, but it feels unfair that I'd make him tell me his clearly painful story without my own. Again, when I'm back, then we can trade. Deal. Neferu stands up, stepping up onto the bench before reaching down to pull me up. Now let's go for a walk before your wolf returns. I would like our last conversations to be of happier things. I take his paw, letting him pull me up. Then the two of us step out of the pool to towel off and dress. Neferu is easily able to shift the conversation to things that are light and interesting, and it almost makes me forget that I'm leaving. One second, y'all. Water time. Can't really even see that, so it should be okay. Alrighty. What you doing, little girl? Little girl. What are you doing? Are you being silly? Come over here. You come over here. Yeah, sweet girl. Sweet little girl. Okay. I'll pet the kitty and use the space bar to navigate. Come on, little girl. And so this Wolverine actually believes that the Imperial family would even consider apologizing for the war. Absolutely asinine, if you ask me. Sounds reasonable. What? No, Kyliian, it's not. We suffered the heaviest casualties. But wasn't it started by the Empire? No, it was started by Kyliian provocation. Haven't you learned the history? Well, yeah, but attacking a planet full of sapient children wasn't the best way to respond. We attacked the Kyliian bases with weaponry which happened to be on a planet full of children. They were never fired on directly. So says the Adastran history books. Why would you assume that? It's not a good argument to just whip out assumptions that these are lies. My father never lied. I'm basing it off what I've learned from Kyliian history as well. I'm not only learning about Adastra, you know. Amicus is quiet, but still looking huffy, so I lean over from my side of the couch and touch his shoulder. Listen, I'm not saying your father is a liar. I'm saying that sapiens as a whole are. I know because humans do the exact same thing when we write our history. You should have a bit more pride in your species. How would you lead the humans otherwise? Actually, I think pride is the biggest wolven problem. Amicus just goes quiet. I think I had a sore spot talking about his dad. Although I'm enjoying our usual somewhat intense banter, I don't have as much energy as usual. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about things I don't understand. Amicus looks at me with surprise. What? No! I do want you to talk to me about these things. I might seem upset, but I've already told you I enjoy debating. A wave away, Amicus has rushed to smooth things over. No, me too. I'm just a little tired today. What I wanted to talk about is what's about to happen to me. About how I'm starting to lose my courage at the last minute. How I don't want to do anything except stay on his couch. But I can tell Amicus doesn't. He came with the stories of the day right away, as if this isn't our last night together. Well, it had been easy to pretend with Neferu. It's much more difficult seeing Amicus put on such an act. To, I assume, make me feel better. Amicus, I don't know if I can... Amicus suddenly holds up a paw. Wait, Kyliian, I know, but please, let's have this night together. I promise you, the situation will become clearer for you. Just give it a little more time. It gives me a moment. That gives me a pause. It's like Amicus knows something that I don't. And trust me, because we are traveling back to Earth together, we will have plenty of time to discuss whatever you wish. Amicus's eyes start to glisten just slightly as he holds back tears and clears his throat. But for now, I think it's preposterous that they expect me to apologize. I watch Amicus for a long time, realizing that he might be right. He's in constant contact with the parents. I've respected the fact that he can't tell me what they say unless given specific permission to do so. And though the feeling is unnerving, there's also some comfort in the idea that maybe something will help me at the last minute, and Amicus seems to know that. On top of that, he knows how hard this is going to be. We both do. But he wants to save the tears for the end, and so do I. So, well, it's just the Imperial family apologizing that's actually asking for very little to create an alliance. It's one of the many demands, and they simply want to humiliate us, all because Neferu managed to get his balls kicked in. I mean, the Pharaoh's son, you should honestly consider yourself lucky no one else saw you hit him. Heh, he's an easy one to hit. What does he expect, always leaving himself wide open? He deserved it. Both times. I sigh. Be nice, Amicus. But I lean into him, and he finally pulls me into his lap, nuzzling my hair. We talk for a while longer, the two of us trying to stay awake as long as possible. I finally manage to relax a bit, and finally my eyes grow heavy, and Amicus's warm breath huffs steadily against my head. I imagine this moment folding into a pocket of infinity, made to go on forever, our responsibilities gone, the coming trials never to arrive. But time does march on, because without realizing it, I start to fall asleep. 1 second, y'all. Water time. You are on the right path. I grasp blindly at the sound of his voice. Help me. I don't know what to do. My feet slide quietly across the rug and marble, leaving Amicus behind on the sofa. Apologies for the extended silence. But why? I don't know what I'm doing. But you do. I walk deliberately in the direction I know to go, my only distraction being the furious twitching in my left eyelid. You needed time to learn about yourself, to learn about the Galaxius, to steel your resolve, and now you are ready to forge ahead. But I'm not. Then, would you like to glance through the eyes of the parents to see what lies ahead? Yes. How do I even begin? Instructions for the first steps in your assignment will be given upon your arrival back on Earth. But what we want to show you is instead what is possible, what is guaranteed if you follow all of our instructions. He senses my confusion. Instead of telling you, we can show you. My left eyelid flutters. Everything starts to fade. 8 years pass by in a cosmic microsecond. You return to Adastra a changed man. You find Amicus changed as well. What does not change are the feelings between you. The thread connecting you to your wolf never breaks, never wavers, a constant reminder of where you belong. And when you see him again, you will know this. You will spend the rest of your life with Amicus, a long life. You worry that what is ahead is too difficult. Instead, the worst is far, far behind you, and will only grow more distant with the slow passage of time. You marry Amicus. You travel the Galaxius with him, always by his side, never to be separated again as you continue your work. You see creatures and civilizations that no human before you could have ever dreamed of. You experience much. Some of it is difficult and painful, but most of it is beautiful. You carry these experiences with you for the rest of your life. You see Neferu again. You work with him, and he will become your closest ally. And then, you return to Adastra 40 years later, your work complete, but much more time is ahead of you. You make full use of it. You and your wolf change Adastra forever for the better. Power will shift from the Imperial family as Amicus reforms the fabric of Adastran politics. You and your wolf will have more time with each other, and within 100 years the Imperial family will formally relinquish its hold on the moon. You spend most of your time with Amicus, and some of your time alone. But all of it is time well spent. He takes you to the lake. He takes you to the city. And 200 years later, and 200 years after you first met Amicus, you both retire to a villa on the countryside. You grow old together. For the last 50 years of your life, you create even more experiences with him, somehow just as exciting as the ones in your youth. You defy all expectations and live nearly 300 years. And when the inevitable happens, you slip through to the next plane easily, ending this life in his arms, the smell of lavender the last sense you experience. And then, only a few decades later, your wolf joins you in the amalgamation. You will mingle there for eternity, reliving the best moments of your life with your wolf. Forever. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there, guys. Jeez. Well, if that is indeed a vision of the future, then it is indeed a future worth fighting for and suffering for. Because Kyliian is going to have to return to Earth for 8 years to convince humanity to join the Galaxias, so... Well, with the pills that he's taking, he's going to live a long, long life. Much, much longer than any average human. But anyway, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. If a super thanks, your tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.